Samare pa ma pa ga ma re samare pa sa 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 re 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 pa pa ga ga ma ma re re sa 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 ma 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 re 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 pa pa ga 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 ma 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 re 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 sa 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 ni sa 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 re.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ವಂದನೆಗಳು. ಬಿಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ಸ್, ಲೋಚನ, ಶಿರಸಿ ಲಯನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲಬ್, ಶಿರಸಿ ರೋಟರಿ ಕ್ಲಬ್, ಶಿರಸಿ ಲಯನ್ಸ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಇವುಗಳ ಸಹಯೋಗದೊಂದಿಗೆ ಮೂಡಿಬರುತ್ತಿರುವ ಈ ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆದರದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇಂದು ನಮ್ಮೊಡನೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಮಹನೀಯರೆಂದರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ಪುರಸ್ಕೃತರು, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಮಟ್ಟಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಮನಮುಟ್ಟುವ ಅತ್ಯಾಕರ್ಷಕ ಮಾತುಗಳಿಂದಲೇ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಅರಿವಿನ ಬೆಳಕನ್ನು ಕೊಡುವ ಕರುಣಾಳು ಬಾ ಬೆಳಕೆ ಎಂಬ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳ ಬರಹದ ಮೂಲಕವೇ ಜನಮಾನಸದಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಲೆಯಾಗಿರುವ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? ಹೌದು, ಅವರೇ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಗುರುರಾಜ್ ಕರ್ಜಗಿಯವರು. ವಂದನೆಗಳು ಸರ್. ತಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಕೇಳುಗರಿಗೆ ಇವರನ್ನು ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಪರಿಚಯಿಸುವಂತಹ ಅಗತ್ಯವಂತೂ ಖಂಡಿತಕ್ಕೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮಾತಿನ ಮಾಂತ್ರಿಕರಿವರು. ನಮಗೆ ಅರಿವಿಲ್ಲದೆಯೇ ಇವರ ವಾಕ್ಚರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತೇಲಿ ಹೋಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಬನ್ನಿ, ಇನ್ನು ವಿಳಂಬ ಮಾಡುವುದೇನೂ ಬೇಡ. ಅಂತರಂಗದ ಕಣ್ಣನ್ನು ತೆರೆಸುವ ಇವರ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಆಲಿಸೋಣ.
Good morning, my pranams to all of you. I'm so happy to talk to the young minds of this lovely school called Vishwa Vidyapitha. And I'm aware that children have been missing the school for quite some time now. The almost major part of the academic year got over without you coming to school. I'm happy you are coming back to school now. Things are happening well, and the classes would start seriously and things would go on. At the outset, I would like to wish all of you a very happy new year. And I'm sure the new year will bring you all prosperity, happiness, success in everything you do. I'm so grateful to the school because they asked me to talk to you on something which we all have been talking about human values. What are human values? We've been talking about human values. Say values are falling down, values are not stationary, the values we had in earlier times are not there now. What do you mean by human values? Everybody talks about human values today. I was wondering to identify what it means to have human values. Value also means cost. If I say this pen, what is the value of this pen? I may say some 25 rupees. Please watch. I'm giving the value of pen in terms of money, 25 rupees. If somebody asks you what is the cost of the mobile you have in your hand or the laptop that you have in front of you, people may 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, whatever the amount. That means the laptop is also assessed in terms of money. Value of mobile is also assessed in terms of money. If you purchase a nice shirt, your friends will ask, how much did you pay for it? The shirt is assessed in terms of money. People, oh my God, it's very expensive shirt, 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees. Again, the value of the shirt is evaluated based on the money. You take a building, huge building, oh, it is worth so many crores. Suppose somebody were to ask what is the cost of Vidhan Saudha in Bangalore, people may quote some money, thousands of crores. That means writer from a small object like pin and pen to big articles like huge bungalows and buildings are all assessed in terms of money. But some things are not assessed in terms of money. When I went for a walk in the morning, I saw my neighbor bringing a small little dog for walk. Nice, cute dog. I asked the owner, very nice dog, very nice dog. He said, what nice, sir, very expensive. I said, my God, dog is expensive? He said, yes. This was about 2,000 rupees before the Vodafone advertisement came. Now it's about 12,000 rupees for the dog. He is giving the value of dog also in terms of money. I was surprised. But imagine, at least in the civilized part of the world, when I go for a walk, if I see my friend bringing a son or daughter with him, I will not ask him, how much did you pay for your son? How much did you pay for your daughter? I won't ask. Nobody will ask. Very interesting. Please watch carefully. You carry any new material with you, people ask, how much did you pay for it? When I take my son, my daughter, my wife, my father, my mother, my relatives, nobody will ask me, how much did you pay for them? What does that mean? Everything else in the world, other than human beings, are assessed in terms of money. Human beings are not evaluated in terms of money. Today is an important day, you should know, children. Today is 30th January. It is also called the Martyrs' Day. This is the day on which 75 years ago, Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated in Birla House at 5:17 p.m. All over the world, they celebrate and observe this as Martyrs' Day and offer their respects to the great man and to his ideals of Ahimsa and Satya. I'll talk about him a little later. But the fact is that human beings are not. What is the value of Gandhi? You can't assess. You can't just assess. Human beings' values. Supposing you say your friend is there. What is the value of your friend? He is very valued friend to me, all right. But how much can you quantify it? You can't do it. You can't assess the value of any human being in terms of money because they are assessed by different parameters, different qualities, different value systems are there. Therefore, they are called human values, not general values. Values are with materials, but human values are specifically spoken about human beings. Human beings are not assessed. I'll tell you a nice story from a small Upanishad called as Kathopanishad. If you remember the name, it's more than enough. Kathopanishad. It is the story of a young boy, little boy, was probably about 8 or 10 years old. His name was Nachiketa. Then his father was a great saint called Vajashravas. That man was stingy, not to give out money, and he was also short-tempered, very short-tempered. He was doing Homa. The Agni Kunda was ready and he was offering something in the Agni Kunda. Every time he said, Indraya Swaha, Varunaya Swaha, Agneya Swaha, Vayu Swaha. You can mentioning that and putting it in the fire. The little boy sitting there asked his father, Appa, what are you doing? And the father said, I am offering this to Indra, offering this to Agni, offering this to Vayu. And immediately little child asked, whom are you offering me? Whom do you offer me? I told you father was a short-tempered man. I said, keep quiet, don't ask questions like that. The child did not stop. He went on asking, Papa, whom do you give? Whom do you give? When he asked 3-4 times, the old man got angry. He said, you have been bothering me. I'll offer you to Yama. Or offer you to Yama. You know, Yama is the god of death. Boy doesn't know. The father said, I am offering you to god of death. Boy said, okay, since you offer me to god of death, I'll go to god of death. And according to mythology, he is the first human being who went to Yamaloka with his body. He went there, sat in front of Yama's house. Yama had gone for some duty elsewhere. For 2-3 days he was not there. The people in Yama's house asked him to come inside and take food and take rest. The boy refused. I have come to meet Yama and I have to meet him only. He waited for 3 days. After 3 days, Yama comes back. In our great movies and serials, we have destroyed Yama. We make a picture of Yama. I don't know how many of you have seen children. Yama is like a dark fellow with a big mustache, big pot belly, and has a rope in his hand and is always with the he buffalo and laughs like a villain. Yama cannot be like this. I have not seen Yama, but I am sure he cannot be like that. Because Upanishad describes him so beautifully. He is called Yama Dharma. Yama means rigid. The meaning of word Yama is rigid. Who follows Dharma rigidly is called Yama Dharma. He follows Dharma absolutely, no variation at all. That's called Yama Dharma. He comes and talks to the child and says, I am sorry, child, I am very sorry. You are my guest. But I am out of the town, I am not here. I am sorry that you did not receive any welcome by our people here. You did not go inside the house also. I feel guilty. You are an amazing boy. People in the world are so scared of me. The moment say Yama, they become nervous. But you are so confident you are here with me. I'll give you boons you want. Whatever boons you want, I'll give you. Vara. Whatever vara you want, I'll give you. Boy said, I don't want any boons. I not come here. I come here to stay with you. Yama said, still man, you are a wonderful boy. You have so much courage. Ask me something. When Yama pestered him, the little boy asked, Sir, my father is a very short-tempered man. Can you remove his short-temperedness? My father becomes a wonderful human being. Okay. And then he also said, my father is also very stingy, does not give money for anything to anybody. And his donations are very bad. Kindly make him broad-minded. God said, okay. Normally we say, parents correct children. But in this case, the child Nachiketa corrected his father. Father became a noble man. Then the second boon, ask for second boon, Yama said. He said, I don't want to ask anything, sir. I have got everything and I come to stay with you. Still ask the second boon. Then the boy asked a very interesting question. As you said, everyone on earth is scared of death. Everyone is scared of death. What is death? What is meant by death? Yama said, I can't tell you. It's a trade secret. If I tell you what is death, then my job is gone. Nobody will be scared of me. That is only with me. I can't give you. Ask anything else. Okay. The boy asked a question. I want the children to remember this. It's a beautiful question. He asked Yama, can we conquer death? Can we conquer death? When I was reading for the first time, and I was also a small young boy like you, I was sure that Yama would say, no, nobody can conquer death. Nobody has conquered death so far. Writers from Rama, Krishna, all of them, they had a body, and after some time the body goes away. Nobody can live for 1,000 years. Body is very, very temporary. I thought Yama would say, no, you can't conquer death. But the answer of Yama was surprising to me. He said, yes, child, you can conquer death. You can conquer death, but not with your body. But by your deeds, you can conquer it. Please watch, children. It's one of the best answers I can ever think of. You can't conquer death with your body, but you can conquer death by your deeds. Watch carefully. A young man, a Kshatriya, a prince called Rama, who stood by certain values. I will never tell lie. I will never tell lies. And secondly, I believe in righteousness, dharma. Satya, dharma. These two qualities Rama followed till the end. The whole avatar of Rama is around these two principles. One is always tell the truth and always live in dharma, right way of living. By doing this, A young prince Rama became a god for us. We have Ramadeva, we have Rama temple elsewhere. One person, by believing in certain values, has become God. Krishna, an amazing God. A boy who was playing with cowherds finally became a standard testimony for karma, working all the time. He never relaxed himself. I want the children to remember this. I'm telling of values. Rama had only two values, Satya and Dharma. Krishna said karma. Karma means work till the end. Never stop. Never stop. He was the great God. Even Pandavas, why Pandavas? All the kings and princes at that time bowed down to Krishna, but he never became king. He never became a king. On the contrary, the man who gave us Bhagavad Gita washed the horses of Arjuna and did the charioteering for him. He had no shame, the dignity in labor. Krishna did that. He washed the cow, washed the horses, washed the chariot, and maintained it well and drove the chariot for Arjuna to fight. This is a role model for all of us. Children, I want you to remember this. You don't have to try to do many things. One value, a great value, keep it in your mind and follow it. The chance that everybody can become great and become gods, in fact. I have seen great people in my life, outstanding people, at least about a half a dozen Nobel laureates I have interacted with. I have traveled and seen saints and philosophers and great people elsewhere. I find they become great because they practice certain values, nothing else. One value they practice. So Krishna, by following karma, he became God. Buddha, a prince again, left his house and went in search of truth of life. Why people are suffering? He found that greed is the cause for that. Greed means I want more, everything I should get, everything I should get. The more you ask for things, more you suffer. That is the message Buddha gave. So children, please remember, certain values if I practice, that's what Yama says, you can conquer death not by your body, because body is bound to go. Today or tomorrow the body will not be there. But what remains behind is more important. I'll tell you an interesting thing. When I was teaching the students in the college, they were all MSc students, I asked them a question. How many of you know your grandfather's name? They were surprised. I was teaching chemistry, but why? How is chemistry connected to grandfather? Students smiled and looked around, and all of them raised their hand because all of them knew the grandfather's name. I said, good, very good, you know it. Then I paused for a moment and then said, how many of you know your grandfather's name? Again, they looked around and few hands went up. I said, good, at least some people know the grandfather's name. Again, I paused for a moment and then asked, how many of you know your grandfather's name? Nobody knew. They said, sir, we don't know. I asked him, how is that you don't know? One girl stood up and answered rudely, sir, what is the point in knowing, sir? What is so great he has done for me to remember, sir? Looking at her anger, I said, please cool down, ma, please cool down. I asked, I'm not asking my grandfather's name. I'm asking your grandfather's name. Tell me, why don't you remember? I'll give you 5 minutes time. Why don't you remember? But meanwhile, I asked him, shall I tell you some more names? If you know the names, that is for you also. I go on mentioning some names. If you know the names, you can raise your hand. If you don't know, don't worry about it. I told the students. They were all ready. I asked them, do you know Rama? Ayodhya Rama? Yes. Everybody raised their hand. Krishna? Yes. Buddha? Mahavira? Jesus Christ? Prophet Muhammad? Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa? Vivekananda? Basavanna? Shankaracharya? I went on mentioning the names. And do you know interesting? Everybody knew the names. They all said, yes, sir, we know it, we know it. Same thing will be true with you also. You'll be knowing all these names. Then I asked them a question. I have a serious problem now. I mentioned so many names from Rama to Basavana and Shankaracharya. I am not the great, great, great grandson of any one of them. But remember all their names. But I don't remember my own grandfather's name. I don't remember. Why is that? Why such thing happens? I gave them 5 minutes time. There was a brilliant child in my class. I can't forget the girl. Her name was Padmini Priyadarshini. She was one of the most sensitive and intellectual child. She had tears in her eyes. Looking at her, I asked, what's the problem with Padmini? What happened? She wiped her tears and told me, sir, I got a lesson of my life, sir. What is the lesson, child? She gave an answer. It became lesson for me. It could be as well for you. She said, sir, I learned a lesson that anyone who lives for himself shall not be remembered by the world, and anyone who lives for others shall not be forgotten. What a lovely way of saying it. ಯಾರು ಬರೀ ತಮಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬದುಕ್ತಾರೋ ಅವರನ್ನ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ನಿರ್ದಾಕ್ಷಿಣ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಮರೆತು ಬಿಡುತ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಬದುಕಿದವರನ್ನ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಮರೆಯೋಲ್ಲ. Now we understand this. What was the bank balance of Basavana? There was no bank at all. All his deposits are in our hand. All that he wrote and said and behaved, all is recorded in our hearts. He remains one of the greatest souls of India. Why I'm saying that? By his deeds, he became immortal. The girl told me a beautiful answer. If I live only for myself, get everything for myself, live for myself, nobody will remember you. You will die really. But if I am doing something for others, like Rama, Krishna, Abdul Kalam, Gandhi, all these outstanding people, they did not live for themselves. They lived for the society. When they started living for society, they became immortal. In fact, today, more people read Vivekananda than when he was alive. July 4th, 1902, Vivekananda left his body, a young man of 39 years at that time. I don't know how many students he had, disciples he had at that time, very handful. Today, tens and thousands of people are following Swami Vivekananda. Why? He has become immortal. He has become immortal. That is the beauty. That's what Yama says. You can conquer death by your deeds, but not by your body. Then this little boy, Nachiketa, asked, okay, if I had to live the life of values, what are values? How do you define the values? How do I live? If I want to live the value of life, how do I live? The answer is beautiful, children. If you can remember it, I'll be grateful. This is the best definition of values I ever got. Best definition of values. Very easy to understand. Anybody can understand. It says, values are a set of desirable behavior by following which it is good for the individual and also the society. Please watch carefully. I did not say talk. I did not say lectures or articles. It's a set of behavior. When somebody behaves in society, you can make out whether this boy is cultured or not, whether this girl has values or not. Very simple. All that you do, what you think, is shown by your behavior. It is that desirable behavior by following which it is good for the individual and society. I want a pen, I snatch it from my friend. I'm happy I got a pen, but is he happy? No, therefore it's not a value. Any act that you do, by doing that, you should be happy. It's not that I give all my books and pens to somebody and say quietly feeling sad about it. It is not a value. You should be happy and people around should be happy. That act is called as a value. Please remember, this is the most important one. Children, today I want to talk about not the values, what we talked about, Satya, Ahimsa, Parigraha and all that. I want to talk about today's values which are relevant to us, which are relevant to you more. What are the values I can talk about? First value I want to talk about is honesty. Honesty. There was a feeling earlier that if you remain honest, you can't be successful in life. It is wrong, absolutely wrong. Today, people have convinced that without honesty, you can't be successful. Any company also, buying unethical methods, you can get some money for some time, get appreciation for some time, but in the long run, you'll be found wrong. Honesty is one. I'll give an example of that. I'm sure you heard of Sir C.V. Raman, the great scientist of India. He is the only Indian scientist who got Nobel Prize in Science. Many more people got, Hargobind Khurana onwards to Dr. Recently, all other people. The reason is that they were all born Indians but not settled in India. They were citizens of other countries. But the only person, an Indian who got Science Nobel Prize is Sir C.V. Raman. He retired from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He wanted to start an institute of research very close to IISc near Makeri Circle. He was given a big piece of land and he wanted to start his Raman Research Institute. He required scientists for doing it. So he advertised. He wanted 3 scientists to be selected. Oh, hundreds of boys and girls applied. Hundreds of boys and girls applied. It is a pleasure and an honor to work with a Nobel laureate. So many applied. And there was a team of scientists who would select. First round, second round, third round, all were selected. Finally, 5 boys were selected for the finals. 5 boys. And how many seats? Only 3. Raman himself would interview them. Raman would interview them. The 5 boys were very happy. Even if I don't get selected, doesn't matter. I had the chance of meeting the Nobel Prize winner sitting in front of me and interviewing me. It's a pleasure. They all went. Raman conducted the interview, selected 3 people, and told his office, the remaining 2 boys who are not selected, give them their bus charge, travel allowance and dearness allowance, give them, send them. I can't select them. It was over. Evening at about 6 o'clock, Raman was going home. Please visualize, children, the turban, close collar coat, hand held behind, walking slowly. He suddenly saw somebody standing on the roadside there. For the corner of the eyes, he saw this was the boy who came for the interview in the morning and was not selected. He thought the boy must have asked him, sir, kindly give me another chance, sir. He has come to ask. That's what Raman thought. When Raman went further, the boy came forward and said, Namaste, sir. Offered my pranam, sir. Okay. You are the boy who came for the interview in the morning, right? Ramana, yes, sir, I had come. I'm sorry, child. You are not selected. Okay. Study well. Come next year. Let me hope. Hope that you can get it next year. Okay. Thank you. The boy said, sir, 1 second. I not come here to ask for the job, sir. I not come to ask for a job. After the interview was over, I went to the office. They gave me some money, sir. For my travel allowance and DA, they gave money. But they gave me 7 rupees more than I should get, sir. They gave me 7 rupees more. I wanted to give them back. They did not take it, sir. They said, no. We have given you already. Account is closed. You can enjoy. Take it. I don't want to take it, sir. It's not my money. I should not take money which does not belong to me. Raman looked up and said, you want to give the money back? Give me. He stretched his hand and collected the 7 rupees, put in a coat pocket and started moving further. After having gone 3-4 steps, Raman stopped, turned around and told the boy, son, meet me tomorrow at 10:30 in my office. I have something to talk to you. The boy was puzzled. He has been rejected already. He is not selected. But why did Raman ask him to come tomorrow? But anyway, another chance of meeting Nobel laureate. Next day morning, this boy went there. Raman talked to him and told him, son, you failed in the physics test, but passed in the test of honesty. I have created one more post to come and join tomorrow. The boy was selected. Next day he joined, worked with Raman, and became one of the finest scientists of his times. Became a great scientist. Later on, when Raman retired, it was 75 or so, they brought out a book in the honor of Raman, and this boy, who became a great scientist later, wrote an article, 7 rupees that changed the course of my life. Think over, children, think over. If this boy had taken 7 rupees home, perhaps would have enjoyed a dinner, he would have enjoyed a movie or something like that. It would have gone. But returning that 7 rupees as an act of honesty, he became one of the greatest scientists ever. You understand what I'm saying? Honesty pays in the long run. Raman always said, you may fail in the test of physics, chemistry, maths, biology, or whatever subjects. But if you pass in the test of honesty, you'll be successful in life. Honesty is a great value. The second value I want to mention to young people like you is respecting your parents. This is very, very, very beautiful. Please remember, there are only 2 lives in the world, only 2 souls in the world, which will love you immensely without expecting anything back. They are only mother and father. Others may say, I love you so much, is all nothing. But the 2 people who love you without expecting anything from you, they are only happy to see you happy. When you get a good marks and go take the marks card back home, you are happy. But do you know, your mother will be 100 times more happier than you. She will tell 100 people, my son has done so well. My son has done so well. You can see the joy on her face. Please see that your parents are happy all the time. Respect them. Never insult your parents. Hey, what do you know? You don't know. They may not know the subject, but they know the life better than you. And they know that they care for you. They love you intensely. Nobody can love you more than that. Nobody can love you more than the mother. In fact, I wrote a small piece. One day, a boy like you wrote a slip, a bill. He wrote a bill and kept it on the mother's cooking table and went away to school. He wrote in that, Amma, long time you have not paid me the money. It's pending for a long time. Dues are there. Clear it. Here is my bill. One is, every week you used to give me 20 rupees. You have not given me last week. Due 20 rupees. Other day I ironed the father's clothes. I ironed them. And that is about 20 rupees. And other day I came with you to vegetable shop. I carried all the luggage back home. And for all the coolie work I have done, I put a bill of 5 rupees. Another day uncle came from somewhere. You wanted me to take him round city and show him Bangalore city. I wandered the whole day and showed him. The guide charge for this is 25 rupees. He went on making a bill like this and finally said, Amma, you owe me 95 rupees. Give me immediately. I need money very badly. Clear the bill. He wrote and kept it on the mother's table and went. Mother, after cooking was over, saw the bill. She smiled at it. She turned the page and the back side she wrote, Dear son, I know I owe you 95 rupees. I'll pay it immediately, as early as possible. I'll pay it. Give it to you. But son, I also have a bill. I also have a bill for you. When I carried you for 9 months in my womb, the amount of pain and suffering that I underwent before you were born, there is no bill for it. During the time of delivery, doctor told me that I may not survive. And the agony and the pain that I suffered at the time of your birth, it can't be explained in words at all. I suffered and tolerated all that. For that, there is no bill. When you were a small child, you had fever. You were not well. I did not sleep the whole night. I slept, I sat next to you, prayed God that my child will be all right all through the night. And for all that, no bill. When I sent you to the school, though you were in the school, my eyes were at the gate only, hoping that my child will come back now. All through the day, my eyes were glued to the gate waiting for you to come back. And for that anxiety and the pain, there is no bill. When you went to the school for examination, I prayed, God, my child should do well, get good marks. Let the child be happy. Let the child be happy. I prayed. For that, there is no bill. Every moment, I always prayed for you. I thought of you, nothing else other than you. And for that, no bill. But anyway, child, I'll clear the bill. Kept it on the child's table. When this child came back from the school, looked at the slip that mother had written, emotions came up. He felt very bad for having given bill to the mother. He said, Amma, he stuck it off. What he had written in the bill, he stuck it off. And then wrote, Amma, you don't owe me anything. But I owe you everything that I have. I owe you everything. For the love and the affection that you have given me without expecting anything from me. I don't know how do I repay it. I can't repay in my life. As a folk song which says, when the child is born, the hand is fisted, fingers are closed like this. Mother opens the fingers and the little soil inside. Mother with the pallu of the sari, she wipes and cleans it. That is the first act mother does. And there are many, many lakhs of things. When you are born, you are like a helpless creature. We don't know anything other than crying. The mother brings you up with all the love and care. She suffers, but she will not allow you to suffer. She brings you up at that particular level. She does so much. And the folk writer says, for the thing that she had done to remove the soil, for the act of removing the soil from your hand, when you grow up, even if you remove the skin of your body and make chappals for your mother, that one service cannot be redeemed. You cannot do it. And look at the amount of, nobody sees God. Difficult to see God. You know why God is not seen? He is always present in the form of the mother. You can see God in the mother. God is kind, I would say, but mother is kinder. So therefore, please develop this greatest value of the 21st century, respecting your parents, respecting your mother, respecting your father. This is the greatest value today. And most important is, today respect your work, your studies. Most important. Don't ignore studies. Oh, study is boring and all that. There is no way. If you are to be successful tomorrow, you should work hard today. Your tomorrow is decided by what you do today. Focus, be focused. I always tell you, child, one thing. Think of the hottest day in the world, hottest place in the world. Say, for example, Nigeria in Africa, hottest place. Think of the hottest day of the year, say 21st of May. Think of the hottest time of the day, 21st May, afternoon 1:30, blistering hot, 50 degrees Celsius. Imagine you've got a big magnifying lens and a very thin tissue paper. Can you burn a hole in that? When you focus it, the paper would burn immediately. That is the temperature, 50 degrees Celsius. Do you think it is possible? With a big lens and a thin paper, can you burn a hole in that? If you say yes, it is possible, but it may not happen if your hand is shaking. If your hand is constantly shaking, you can't burn a thin piece of paper. But an ordinary Bangalore day, take your ordinary lens and take a thick brown paper. Keep your hand steady. Keep it on the focus. You can burn a hole in that. Therefore, remember, children, the place, the day, the time, the equipment that you have is not important. What is important is how steady is your hand. If your hand is steady, you can burn the paper in normal temperature. If your hand is shaking, you can't burn at a very high temperature also. So what difference does it make? Ultimately, you are successful or otherwise, depending on how focused you are on your studies. Please focus on studies. Don't ignore it. It's the greatest value today. You are a student. What is the meaning of a student? Who focuses on study, prepares well. who studies well, learns well. That is your job, and that is the greatest value for a student today. Another value I want to mention, because I've got another 6-7 minutes to talk to you and close. Greatest value is be positive at all times. Be positive. Don't be with people who are negative. They keep on saying, oh, the world will come to a close. There's going to be a prayer. Oh, this exam will not be all right. School will not open. Some people are always negative. There is no life with negativity. Please remember, you can be successful or otherwise depending on whether you are positive or negative. If you are positive, you will be successful in life. There are people who cry even in heaven. Some people celebrate even in hell. They're enjoying, very happy, positive, very positive. Be positive. Be positive in life. Life is, whose life is this? Your life, whose life is it? Your own or rented? All you have, own life. You should better be careful about it. When your own house, you are staying in your own house, you keep it clean, throw the debris out, put nice pictures, nice furniture, nice TV. You want to be happy because you want to keep your house neat, nicely. Is it not right? If you can take so much care about your house, how much care can you take about your own life? It is your life. You have to be successful. Therefore, please remember, keep your heart always positive, always positive, always positive. Think of positive. And if somebody is talking negative, don't go in their company. Say, sorry, wrong number. I am positive. I'm here. I'm not telling you to do this. I have seen people doing that. Have you heard of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam? He came from very, very difficult background, poor background. How he became successful? Became the President of India. Dr. K.R. Narayanan, who became the President of India, he came from absolute poverty, nothing to eat. So much of problem. He didn't cry. He said, okay, I have problems, all right, but I'll not be in bad situation in future. I'll succeed. I'll work hard. These are the children who work very hard. You talk of Marie Curie. I have seen her lab in Poland. Absolutely bad condition. There's no lab at all. Freezing temperature, -12, -14 degrees Celsius. She had no gloves also to wear. Worked very hard. She had enough to cry. Oh, I don't have this, I can't do this. I don't have air conditioner, I can't do this. She never complained. There are only two things in life, children, remember. Only two kinds of people. People who complain and people who succeed. Please remember all the time, those who complain are not leaders, and leaders don't complain. You have to be leaders in your life. If you want to be leaders, stop complaining about it. I don't have it. He didn't give me. She didn't support me. Oh, she talks about me. Forget about all that. You want to be successful? Stop complaining. Stop complaining. Crying babies never get anything. You'll be happy only when you become positive. Okay, there is a problem. Yes, I know. Problems are there. Problems you can conquer. If I decide to go on Himalaya, I go to Mount Everest, I know it is going to be cold. I know it is going to be icy. It is going to be risky. But the joy of going on Himalaya is wonderful. Is it not right? Therefore, when you go on a journey, be prepared for the challenges, but don't cry about them. Face them, solve them. Be positive at all times. Don't complain. And carry positive things in your heart. Love everybody. Love everybody. Don't hate anybody. Hate is a poison. Hate is a fire. You carry fire in your heart. You carry poison in your heart. Whom does it kill? It kills you only, not others. Don't find fault with others. You are not the Supreme Court judge. Even judges won't do it. Why do you say she is not good, she is not good, he is not good? Who are you? Please love everybody. There's nothing else you can do. And the last word I would like to say and talk to you about is make right choices in life. Make appropriate choices. Very young age of mine, as 22, probably, I went to US to teach. Somebody took me to a forest, thick forest. They're called sequoias, very close to Los Angeles, called sequoias. Local people call sukhais. I was wondering why they took me to a forest. And forest is marvelous. You know, children, I wish we can have forest like that in India. When you go to president's house or the prime minister's house, they search your pockets. They won't allow you to carry anything with you, no weapon allowed. Similarly, they check your pocket for going into the forest. They don't allow you to cut a twig. Forget about twig. You can't even cut a leaf. Go inside. I was mesmerized. Tall, big trees, 200 feet, 250 feet, 300 feet tall. Big, big trees. No tree is allowed to be cut there. Not a single tree will be allowed to cut. The tree has to live its full life, then fall down, then they will take it and make furniture out of it. Till then, no tree is to be touched. And there, when I was taken there, they took me to a big tree, which is called the biggest tree in the world. You can go to Google later on and check. Biggest tree in the world. It is called King Sherman. King Sherman, Sherman, King Sherman. Ah, I was lost in amazement at the tree. Huge tree, more than 350 tall, 50 feet tall. And to cover the bark of the tree, 50 adults have to hold hand like this to surround the bark of the tree. How old is it? We don't know. Lakhs of birds have taken shelter in that. When I saw the tree, I was so impressed. I wrote a story on that and published in a magazine called Reader's Digest that time. I wrote a story. This King Sherman, some time back, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, it was a small sapling, small tree, right? I created a brother for King Sherman. King Sherman had a brother, another small tree. One traveler like me brought the brother of King Sherman back home. You have seen some people grow the plants in the pots. You have plenty of them in your school. I've seen them, lovely plants in your pots. So he brought that small brother of Sherman and put in an earthen pot. After 1 month, the pot broke. My God, why is it breaking? He put in a bigger pot. Next month, big pot also broke. He said, what is happening? I should find out. One Sunday morning, that man removed all the soil and saw, oh my God, the root has grown so long. It's a big tree, designed to be a big tree, long roots. Oh, because of this, the pot is breaking. What you know what he did? He kept 3 inches of root on top and cut out the remaining root. He kept only 3 inches. Remove all the remaining root was removed. Then trimmed all the leaves and even the small sprouts, that everything was cut, put in an earthen pot, add water. He added fertilizers, and every first Sunday of every month, he would open the soil, cut the roots, trim the shoots, cut the roots, trim the shoots. Even after 50 years, it remains such a small dwarf tree. And in Japan, they call them fondly as bonsai. The brother became King Sherman. The younger one became a bonsai. I have no complaint about bonsai. Bonsais are beautiful. You can keep it on a TV top. It looks elegant. I have seen so many people carrying 100-year-old, 200-year-old plants in small pots. But my only complaint is the bonsai cannot depend on itself. If you lock your house and go away for 1 month, the bonsai would not survive. Somebody has to take care of it. It is dependent on the owner. But his brother, King Sherman there, is he dependent on anything? No. Millions of birds are dependent on him. We have a choice in life today. My friends, I want you to listen very carefully. You have a choice. Choice of becoming King Sherman or a bonsai. Which one you will be? The choice is yours. If you want to be bonsai, I have no complaint about bonsai trees as such. Bonsai of a character, a bonsai of a human being I'm talking of. You want to be King Sherman or bonsai? And my question is, how did King Sherman become bonsai? A plant which could have been like King Sherman, how did it become a bonsai? The owner of the bonsai did 2 things regularly, as I told you. He cut the root, trim the shoots. Cut the root, trim the shoots. For a tree, root is very important. Deeper the roots, stronger is the tree. That's why I see the big banyan tree is so strong because the roots have gone so deep, very, very deep. Deeper the roots, stronger is the tree. For a human being, the root of a human being is the culture, your culture. If you ignore culture, you're not sensitive to culture, you are going to be a bonsai, you are not going to be King Sharman. If your cultural roots are stronger, you are likely to become King Sharman. And secondly, trimming the shoots is cutting his enthusiasm. You are all wonderful children in Vidyapita, but I have seen many, many students. You should see them after the classes are over. They go back home with the backpack, dragging their feet, putting their head down, shoulders bent down, like the soldiers of a lost war. You know, the World War soldiers who lost the war, they go with the head down. Many children go like that and say, oh, boring. For everything they say boring. Never ever say the word boring. World is exciting. World is not boring. Therefore, remember this. If you want to be a bonsai, keep on saying boring, 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 and feel bad. I'm not doing well. Think of negatives and don't worry about your culture. If the enthusiasm is not there and the cultural roots are not there, people become bonsais. Why only a few people have become very successful in life? Very few people have become successful in life. It is because they nurtured and carefully guarded their cultures and enthusiasm. I had the privilege of living with Dr. Kalam for 15 long years. I've seen him regular intervals of time. At 83, 84, what enthusiasm this man had. Amazing enthusiasm. He would like to do everything himself. Any lecture, any student will ask question, he would like to answer the question. That kind of enthusiasm made Kalam what he became, Dr. Kalam. Remember, all of them who became successful in life were extraordinarily enthusiastic and they always valued their culture. And the two choices I mentioned, to become a bonsai or this. You heard of the story of Ramayana. I mentioned that in stop. Krishna and Karna, the two major characters in Mahabharata. There's a discussion between Karna and it is a assumed discussion between Karna and Krishna. Karna says, how unfortunate I am, Krishna. You are very fortunate. You are God. Everybody respects you. But look at me. I was the first son of Kunti. I should have been the emperor. I'm senior to Dharmaraja. I should have been the emperor. But look, my mother left me in the water of Ganga. Finally, one charioteer took me. I should have been the king, but became a charioteer's son. I learned here and there, went to Bhishma to learn. Bhishma taught me but cursed me that I should forget it at the time of when he required it most. I got cursed from Bhishma. Dronacharya did not take me. Look at it. Now in the war time, even the chariot got stuck in the soil. I've been insulted. I've been insulted all through my life. God has not been kind to me. Very unfortunate. Life is unfortunate. That's why I became like this. Krishna told, stop crying. Stop crying. You felt that your mother left you in the sea, in the Ganga river. You felt bad about it. Look at me. The moment I was born, I was born in a jail. Then my father carried me on his head in a raging Yamuna river, left me where? At least you were in the company of charioteer, you had seen weapons, you had seen warfare there. I didn't see anything. I lived with only cowherds, played with the gopis and gopikas. I played small games there. I did not even see weapons with me. I did not go to school also. You became at least a king of Angarajya. Duryodhana made you the king. I never became a king of anybody. But why world respects me today as God? You know that? He answered, I want you children to remember this. He said, why I became successful? You became a villain. Why? You made the wrong choices. I made the right choices. I always chose people who had values with them. The Pandavas, Dharmaraja and all of them. Very very good people, people of values. I went with them. You chose Duryodhana. You could have chosen the Pandavas. You chose Duryodhana. You chose wrong people. And Duryodhana did something wrong. You supported him. I did not support them. I'm not supporting Pandavas because they are my relatives. I'm supporting them because of the path of truth. Therefore, I made the right choices and the world respects me today. You had the ability to become a great leader, but you chose wrong people and you suffered all through your life. Today's values, children, are what choices you make. You make good choices, your life will be so successful. You make wrong choices, you'll suffer at the end. Today I have given you some of the common values that we require in the 21st century. Honesty, appreciating parents, respecting your work, being positive all the time. And the last is make right choices. Don't regret at the end. I've seen people, oh, I should have done that. I did not do, I failed. No point in crying at that time. You should choose the right things. If you choose the right values at this time, people who are positive, take their friendship, you become successful in life. Wrong choices will never take us to the right path. I'll stop at this place. I have spoken for a good 56 minutes and I should stop. If there is any possibility of a question, I don't know whether there is a possibility of question answer. If there is no possibility, doesn't matter. I'll come to the school and talk to all of you. Then you can ask me any number of questions when I come there. Thank you. My pranams to all of you.